for tonight, so beware of the clientele. Better grab your plasma cutter. Gonna slice two limbs like a blade through butter. Better grab your plasma cutter. You know why? We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. It's a very simple recipe. Just giblets, guts, and goop. We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. Murder's on the menu. Come and grab yourself a scoop. And a bleeding and a drooling scum. They stalk through the corridors, grabbing and a stabbing and a screaming death. They paint the walls with gore. Better grab your plasma cutter. Gonna slice two limbs like a blade through butter. Better grab your plasma cutter. You know why? We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. It's a very simple recipe. Just giblets, guts, and goop. We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. Murder's on the menu. Come and grab yourself a scoop, yeah. And it's all over the walls, and it's all over the floor. Your appetite's kinda fading away. I'm not so hungry anymore. We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. It's a very simple recipe. Just giblets, guts, and goop. We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. Murder's on the menu. Come and grab yourself a scoop. We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. It's a very simple recipe. Just giblets, guts, and goop. We're making necromorph soup. Necromorph soup. Murder's on the menu. Saved my life. Gordon Freeman saved my life. City 17, civil protection, run a rigid machine. Break down my door, take me down to the station. They got ideas that I got information. My natural charm is only getting me so far. When out of the black I see the shape of a crowbar. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Back for freedom with a brainstorm. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Like Chuck Norris in a geek form. Completely silent, a violent creature. Despite looking like a geography teacher. Moves at the speed of a cheetah in its prime. Apparently he ain't running on valve time. I watch as the combine they turn into flea. They vanish into thin air like episode 3, yeah. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Back for freedom with a brainstorm. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Like Chuck Norris in a geek form. saved my life. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Back for freedom with a brainstorm. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Like Chuck Norris in a geek form. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Back for freedom with a brainstorm. Gordon Freeman saved my life. Like Chuck Norris in a geek form. Back for freedom with a brainstorm. Like Chuck Norris in a geek form. Back for freedom with a brainstorm. Like Chuck Norris in a geek form.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh yes, it's the show match of the year. Some might say the show match of the century. It's a possibility. Who's going to argue? What can I say? It's gonna be Scarlett versus Naniwa in a best of 7. And of course, our undercard match, which will be coming up first, In Control versus Destiny. My name is Totalbiscuit, and I'm joined once again by the masterful Mr. Greg Idrefield.
Hello, thank you for having me. This is an early Christmas present, getting to cast Scarlett versus Naniwa.
You know, I almost expected early Christmas present getting to cast In Control versus Destiny. So.
That too. They're both up there. Kind of different reasons, but Jeff, a good friend of mine, Destiny, one of the most entertaining people in the scene, and he's in back to Starcraft full time. And Jeff actually is a much better player and a much more active player than everyone gives him credit for. So I don't know. I don't think the undercard match is really to be underestimated. Of course, anything's going to pale in comparison to Scarlett versus Naniwa, but both are going to be very, very fun to watch.
I think so. I think that is very true indeed. And we should, of course, remind people that none of this would be possible without the help of our wonderful sponsors. You can see at the bottom of the screen right there. Isn't it wonderful? We've got our little versus screens going on, and sponsors are at the bottom. We got Bitcoin Magazine, Coinapult, Safelow, Blockchain.info, r/Bitcoin over on Reddit, and Starcraft Bitcoin Open. That's sc2btc.com. They're all responsible for this match for a grand total of 14 Bitcoins for the grand prize there for Scarlett versus Naniwa. That's a huge amount of money.
That is, I think, regardless of whatever fluctuations are going on, I think it's well and above any other kind of StarCraft show match we've had, maybe in the entire history of the game. Certainly for any kind of online thing, maybe there was some GSL special match, but this is pretty unprecedented.
Yeah, at its current rate, I believe it would put it above the largest show match, which I think was an $8,000 show match between Polt and Hyun, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
That was an old IPL match at South by Southwest, which was actually a live event, really a promotional event. And of course, yeah, for online, there's really nothing that matches it. This is going to be pretty incredible, and it includes players that we haven't really got to see fight against each other all that much. Scarlett versus Naniwa in particular was a match that happened in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah, especially since Scarlett really came to dominance, became part of the conversation for who is the best foreigner, and in recent weeks, you know, she's looked almost unbeatable, especially against non-Korean players, but against a lot of Korean players as well. And they haven't played any time recently. Not since back then she was still a good foreigner, but she was nothing compared to what she is now. And Naniwa, he just kind of he's pretty consistent. He's always where he is. But Scarlett's definitely the one who has stepped it up since they last played. I don't know who won the previous match. I don't actually even remember that game.
It was so long ago, and in Wings of Liberty, I viewed it as kind of unimportant, honestly. I believe it was Scarlett, though, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter at all. And that was, at the end of Wings of Liberty, Naniwa just absolutely despised PBZ anyway. I think the matchup is much more to his liking now. But come the Broodlord Infestor era, he basically just gave up on the matchup and did silly builds every game. So yeah, that match has absolutely nothing to do with what we're going to see today.
Yeah, I think so. It really does seem somewhat irrelevant. It was indeed a Scarlett win at IPL 5, 2-1. But then again, the maps we're talking about were Crux Abyssal and ESV Cloud Kingdom. And then the loss was on Entombed Valley, of all places. So, not really relevant anymore.
Now, that was not the most competitive era of StarCraft 2.
No, unfortunately it was not. IPL 5 was actually the tournament that got me to take a temporary hiatus from casting because I was too sick of Broodlord Infestor.
I was kind of jealous of everyone at that because that was actually at the same time as In Control's wedding, so we didn't get to go. And I heard that the tournament and the venue and everything was fantastic as long as you didn't pay any attention to the gameplay whatsoever.
Yeah, especially the finals. It's like, don't get me wrong, I really liked the finalists. They were fantastic players in their own right. Leonok and Violet were awesome, but the ZVZ is what really disappointed. Polt fought his heart out against a strategy that no one really had an answer to at that point.
No, that was the era of like four ZVZ quarterfinals in GSL. Sniper actually won a GSL. No one's ever going to remember that in the history of anything.
That upsets me greatly because he did so at the expense of one of my players, so I will never forgive Sniper, the greatest villain to ever grace StarCraft 2.
Yeah. It's kind of sad for him because he was actually a legitimate pretty good player. He just chose the wrong time to be successful.
Yes, and everyone just viewed him as a villain and someone that kind of exploited Broodlord and Fester at that point. And unfortunately, not being able to replicate his success since then, well, you know, that's a little.
It just kind of adds to it. Yeah.
It does. It really does. It just heaps that legacy on him, which is not what you want, really. But never mind. Well, I don't want to have too much downtime in this tournament, I've got to say. I would really like to get onto our undercard match, which is, of course, In Control versus Destiny. We're taking this one very, very seriously, as you can tell by the chosen profile pictures here.
I can't see the profile pictures, but I can only imagine.
We were thinking, should we cover In Control side of the screen in sponsor logos? It was a possibility. He actually has 9 up there right now. He has more sponsors than this event does, which is pretty impressive, I've got to say.
Sounds like you don't have much of a choice if it's going to be covered in him or not.
No.
Kind of taking care of that for you.
Yeah, I really think so. What we are going to do is we're going to bring Destiny and In Control onto Skype for a quick bit of pre-game banter, and then we're going to be getting right into it. The first map is actually going to be Star Station. It will be a best of 3, and that will be our undercard for this evening. For those who don't know what an undercard is, well, it's kind of self-explanatory. Boxing matches, and particularly MMA fights, have undercard matches, which is kind of like the warm-ups. They're the less popular players, perhaps, although ironically that might not be the case this time around. And they will be fighting for your entertainment before we get to the main event. And they'll be fighting for 1 Bitcoin. There is actually a prize on the line here. So there is money. Best of 3 for right now. I mean, obviously the exchange rate varies, but right now it's about $650 they're fighting for. So that's not too bad for a best of 3.
No, it's not. And I'm almost more excited for the interview than for the match here, because usually you get interviews like this, and even if you have people who are trash talkers online, you put them face to face or voice to voice, and it gets a little bit awkward. These are 2 guys who can actually handle that kind of situation, and I don't know. This is gonna be really funny to listen to.
Yeah, I really can't wait for that. We'll see. Obviously, we're gonna have to keep it a little bit PG-13, but I am definitely looking forward to this one.
You never know with these 2, especially Destiny.
No,
some things can just happen.
I kept your mom a little bit PG-13 just last night.
Excellent, Jeff. A very good, strong, eloquent opening statement from you, as is to be expected.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We're just waiting for Steven to get on the call, and then we'll have ourselves a quick little bit of banter before we begin. And then we can kick it off on Star Station. Who was the person that actually picked Star Station as the first map there?
That was me. The last 3 times I played him, it was on Star Station, and I won every single time, so I figured, if it ain't broke.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it is, of course, our pleasure to invite our second competitor to the stream. It's the one and only Stephen Burnell II.
Hey, I'm really sorry, TV, but I'm feeling kind of sick, man.
Whoa.
Let's
You only do that when you're losing.
If we start out 0-1, if I lose the first match and I end up forfeiting, I just want you to know that. No, I'm just kidding. What's up?
Before the series, that is kind of legit. What are you doing?
Is In Control in here all excited because I let him win 2 games on ladder yesterday? It sounds like it.
He said 3 games, though.
3 games?
The other one was a week ago or so.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough. Well, Steven, if you're going to lag, then of course, do let us know about 2 games in, and then we'll see what we can do about giving you some money and letting you leave. But whatever the case, welcome to both of you. When was the last time you played a best of 3 series?
Oh, God. Destiny made a nasty habit of winning every single frickin' show match we ever played back when he was actually active, this son of a bitch. And it would always be like, I'd win the first 2 or something like that, and I'd be feeling really good, and then just Broodlords in my face, and I would end up being like, I almost won. And everyone's like, good job, you almost beat Destiny. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna go die now.
Well, Jeff, I can't exactly call that a vote of confidence there from your part, but what do you think has changed since then?
Well, the Oracle, I guess, is pretty cool. I don't know. I mean, Heart of the Swarm, it seems just to be a much kinder addition to Protoss. It seems to be going pretty okay for Protoss right now. Pretty okay.
Now, Stephen, I was watching your ladder stream yesterday, and things seem to be going pretty well for you. Of course, returning the prodigal son back from the lands of League of Legends.
Yeah, something like that. It depends on when you catch me on the ladder, but yeah. It could be going better or worse, depending on the time of day you're watching yesterday.
What do you think?
If you're watching at the right points yesterday, you would probably mute me before the stream began today, so that you could watch the liability there. But I think for the most part, I was doing okay.
What do you think of the Zerg versus Protoss matchup right now?
It's interesting. As long as you I don't know.
Don't
Protoss
get all honest on us. Please.
Protoss have a lot of tricks from them two bases, but I don't know. It's really weird because if the Protoss just goes for a straight up macro game, the Protoss gets raped pretty bad. I don't know. I guess it all depends on how the Zerg responds to that intro, that two base, whatever opening the Protoss does, and then it kind of goes from there.
Jeff, are you feeling your PvZ right now?
Well, yes. I've been doing a lot of the cannons, followed by either Dark Templar or Void Rays, and 2 Zerg tiers, and it's been delicious.
Seems like a pretty good transition.
Yeah, I've pretty much done it my whole life, but recently I've been feeling good about it.
Now, Jeff, since of course you are the only player in this entire event under the management of Alex Garfield,
yeah,
it would be nice to know what you think about the weight that's on your shoulders that you're carrying into this match here.
Well, the thing is, the difficulty with this show match is that if I don't win this, typically our standard procedure is to then just buy whoever, beat me or beat us. And
so you're saying there's a chance?
It's just tough because I don't know that Destiny can be bought. He's an individual guy. But we'll see what we can do, especially with the Bitcoin fluctuation in prices these days. If we can catch Destiny on the right side of the Bitcoin, maybe we can get him over to EG. If he wins.
Steven, can you be bought?
I don't know, man. It'll depend on the markets for Bitcoin. I think the thing that sucks about me and In Control is we're actually in the same. I think that me and In Control are very similar in that it's kind of like wrestling a girl, where like you're supposed to win. But if you don't win, it's really bad. But even if you do win, you can't really brag about it. You know what I mean? You ever get that feeling?
I totally beg to differ, man. I would DDT that girl and then stand over her and drop X's on my crotch and say I just totally pwned that girl, and that's what I plan on doing. But if I lose, I'll pretend this never happened, and walk away from the internet for about 3 days.
Well, it's good to hear the story of how you and Anna met, Jeff.
That's true. I DDT'd her and then triple X on my crotch.
It's just how it has to be in this
Triple H. Was it an
rough
H?
and tumble world. I believe it was Triple H. Yes.
That's how Americans do it. You know that though. You're married to an American woman, so she probably expected that approach, but you didn't end up doing that. You're more dignified as a British man.
Yeah, that's probably why it took longer.
Yeah.
Jeff, any final words for your opponent today before we kick it off on Star Station here?
Steven, I wish you the best of luck, but not enough to win, and praise be to the Omniscience, I suppose.
All right. Destiny, your response.
Good luck, Jeffro. And that's all I got. I'm pretty
all
tired.
Right.
Let's go.
All right, let's make this happen. Steven and Jeff, to your places. Thank you very much for the interview. All right, Greg. So, your professional analysis, please. Who do you think's got the edge here?
I don't know. I kind of like Jeff going into this. Destiny's back to Starcraft. I don't know how long he's been back for, and like he said, the 2 bases are pretty good, and In Control is pretty good at the 2 bases. I don't know. I honestly think In Control is kind of underrated, just because he does the whole. He is so good and so prolific in the whole caster personality end of the industry that he kind of gets underestimated as a player. He still streams a lot. He still plays a lot. He has a really good understanding of the game, and he really knows how to take advantage of annoying shit. And I think that's going to work out well for him here.
That's a useful skill for Protoss, right?
That's the only skill they really need. That's the most important one.
It's built into their DNA. That's the way of it. Well, the first map is loading right now. Star Station TE, In Control versus Destiny in a best-of-3 show match for 1 Bitcoin. Which, we'll see how much that is worth. But I guess the best way to say it is it's worth 1 Bitcoin. So, whatever you wish to spend that on. I think that's about That's probably about 20 years of TL Plus you can buy with that.
I'm still not entirely sure what comes with TL Plus, but I'm sure it's worth it if it's worth the Bitcoin.
I got TL Plus, and I'm still not entirely sure of myself with it. You know, I expected just to feel better than everybody else, but it just didn't work out that way.
I actually got it for the post that got me fired from EG.
Ooh.
So I think that's entirely worthwhile. I don't know what features come with it, but I feel like it was worth it.
Yeah. So it automatically reports your post to Alex Garfield. That's the kind of NSA backend that's in TL Plus right now.
I knew they couldn't be trusted.
Damn them, damn them, damn them. Rich is a bit of a Bitcoin hoarder, I've been told, actually. He's been jumping on that in a big way. Oh, yes, absolutely. I asked him about promo, and he said yesterday, oh, yeah, we can totally do promo. It'll cost you this amount of Bitcoin. Like, oh, okay. You're just hoarding all of them. You're waiting for them to fly off to the moon. We're just waiting for the map to load. We do have a lot of casters in here today. I would, of course, like to thank all of our foreign language casters who've come and joined us, which, of course, includes Portuguese, Spanish, Italian, Russian, someone else whose name I can't quite remember, Polish, yes, and Vietnamese, which I think might be a first for a large show match like this.
Yeah, that one's kind of out of the blue. I can't think of any big Vietnamese broadcasts of any kind.
Yeah, we actually got a request from a Vietnamese broadcaster. I went and checked out their stuff. It's like, oh, they're pretty good. So, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think they're pretty good anyway. My Vietnamese is a little bit rusty, I've got to say, but yeah, it was actually really, really awesome. Well, we definitely lost someone coming into this, but such is the way of things. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Starcraft Bitcoin Showdown. Destiny fishing for more sponsors here to the northwest position in the pink trunks, playing Zerg. It is, of course, the one and only Destiny. Versus his opponent to the southeast position. In the red trunks, playing Protoss, the man of many sponsors. It is EG in control.
In control going for a Forge expand right off the bat. That's weird. I don't know. I question it anytime. Anytime a Protoss who isn't like Rain or one of his equivalents goes for anything except a gateway expansion PvZ, I find it kind of weird. There's just so many things you can do early game to mess with the Zerg if you open up with a gateway expansion. But In Control did say he likes the cannons, so if Destiny gives him the opening, I'm sure he's going to go for that here. That's the one reason to go for a Forge FE over a gateway expansion is if you want to do some kind of cannon rush.
Yeah, and Destiny's not actually drone scouting early either, so maybe he doesn't expect shenanigans. So far, it looks like In Control's waiting to see what's in this base before he decides to put something down. A pool goes down first here for Destiny on 14 supply.
That's quite an early pool. I think he might be a little bit worried about the cannon shenanigans. Maybe I wouldn't be surprised if In Control had cannon rushed him in those latter games he was talking about. Because 13 pool, definitely a little bit paranoid. And In Control's just going to go ahead and drop in Nexus first and end up in great shape here.
Yeah.
So, those mind games paying off already.
Absolutely. Those two ladder matches evidently doing something. And Destiny's going to be a little bit worried about that probe hanging around the place. He's seen it come into his base. It had a little bit of a nibble, and then it wandered off. And we'll almost certainly see a Nexus coming down here from In Control, which is exactly what's happening. Just the right time there.
Yep, and he'll drop that Forge, and a couple of larvae being saved up for Destiny. He could run 4 Lings over and try and mess with him. Because his Lings will be out quite early with that early pool.
4 Lings are on the way.
The Forge isn't too early from In Control, so I don't know. If he wants to go right away, maybe. But he doesn't have an Overlord over the natural hatchery he's building at that third base. So if he doesn't keep a couple of Lings back, he's really, really tempting fate when it comes to the cannon rush. I'm pretty sure he's just going to be defensive here. Just clear that probe out and go for 3 hatcheries.
Yep, and the Lings are now out, so the probe is going to have to leave. It may get back to base alive. Depends if Destiny actually manages to find it. He's on an interception path, but it's likely, unless In Control makes a lot of turns, that he's going to end up keeping a hold of that probe. So, I don't know. We'll see. He's going around the Zelnaga Watchtower to look for an interception. He doesn't get it, though. So, there we go. The gateway is up. In Control has wall off pretty solid in the cannon there. So, actually seeing some very old-style Protoss versus Zerg coming out right here from Jeff.
Yeah, both these players are guys who've been around since the beta. Like In Control, obviously a Brood War player, and Destiny picked it up right away. So they're more normal or more accustomed to the 3 hatchery no gas versus Forge FE kind of play style that we saw all the time in Wings. And that probe actually had been chased all the way back to the base for In Control, so no possibility of any kind of proxy pylons right off the bat for him.
Yeah, that's nice for Destiny, actually. He did go out of his way to try and find that probe, taking the Xel'Naga Watchtower, pursuing it down, running the probe down, and making sure that he has full map control, which he does. And Destiny now moving in at Overlord to the top position there to try and go for a scout a little bit later on. So far, there's nothing for him to see, but he knows that, and he's just quietly chugging away there on 3 bases.
Yeah, both of them just building up. Another probe trying to come out from min control, but he's not looking to proxy, he's just scouting with that. Which is kind of strange, because he already saw the 3 hatcheries. He knows that there's nothing he really has to worry about early on, honestly. You see that 3rd hatchery go down. That's the end of the cheesing opportunities from Zerg. So, just being extra safe. And it kind of looks like Destiny didn't notice the probe coming through, which would be strange. Ooh, In Control is actually taking the 3rd gas that is natural, but not the 4th, which could be something funny. He may just be taking it in a second here and messing with my head, but 3 gases means some kind of like blank soccer cheese more often than not, or something weird at least.
Yeah,
it's
very,
very odd.
At this
it's
point.
very, very odd. Oh, but a quick Stargate.
Okay. So, I mean, usually...
And he takes it. He took the 4th gas as well, so this is just going to be a normal Stargate play.
Alright, there we go then.
This is his generic go-to. Like, if he wants to play more of a macro game, he just gets the 5 Phoenix out, takes out 3rd Nexus. It's a pretty good go-to for pretty much every Protoss player, but for him in particular. He really likes having those Phoenix out. He understands the strength of mutas, and just using the Phoenix to deal with them. It kind of gives you map control. It's just a very nice all-around good start. And an Overlord is actually coming into the base for Destiny, but it doesn't look like he's going to manage to see the Stargate. Although there's nothing that shoots up in Control's base just yet, so maybe he'll get a look at it.
Yeah, he's turning around right now, actually, so it looks like he's going to see that Stargate. I don't see any other way. And we're going to see an Oracle out first, actually, from In Control here. Interesting little choice.
Yeah, a lot of Protoss players, I'm not sure if I really like it. I don't know how effective it is, but a lot of Protoss players are just getting that one Oracle out and then going for the Phoenix. But the Oracle... I mean, unless their player really, really messes up, the Oracle's not really going to do any damage, and it just slows down the time it takes you to get up to 4 or 5 Phoenix when you start doing real damage, and guarantees there's going to be Spore Crawlers up. We see Destiny already starting up his 3.
Yeah.
So the Oracle, not likely to do any damage. The Phoenix afterwards are the really important thing. So,
going to follow that one up with a Void Ray, interestingly enough.
That's fun. That means that we could be seeing some kind of cheese here. But the Overlord sees the Void Ray. Destiny should be ready for it, hopefully. But yeah, that definitely could turn into a Void Ray plus Warp Gate kind of all in.
Yep. This Oracle's not really going to get much done here. Thankfully, just pinging off the shields. It will be able to get pretty much a full scout of what's going on, which is nice. And there is, of course, the possibility of running a little bit of Revelation going there. He gets one drone, takes a huge amount of damage, the Oracle has to back off there. You'll notice in the corner, by the way, we're demoing a brand new feature here for GameHeart, which is the 15-second upgrade notification pop-ups in the corner.
Oh, so it tells you 15 seconds before an upgrade finishes?
Indeed, it does.
That's quite handy, because upgrades, I think a lot of newer players really, really underestimate it, that more often than not, if you're going for mid-game timing, it should be based on when your critical upgrades are kicking in. So, if you're watching good players, a lot of the times that 15-second mark, that's when you're going to see their army move out and look for them to start finding an engagement. And we're actually getting arrow weapons upgraded, more Void Rays in production and cannoning up, so In Control is actually going to go for the big... make a lot of Void Rays and then have some stuff under it kind of composition.
Which works pretty well, even against Hydra composition that we're seeing coming out here from Destiny. Although Destiny is upgrading his melee attack and his ground carapace, so it seems like he wants to build some Hydralisks, but he doesn't necessarily want to fully dedicate to a composition like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting from Destiny. The only thing that makes too much sense is Void Rays are kind of weak up until you get like 6+ of them, depending on what they're fighting against. So he may just be trying to overwhelm him on the ground, have a few Hydras to scare off the Void Rays, and hit him before he really gets up to any kind of critical mass. Because melee upgrades don't really scale that well against air-based compositions. It's not like you're going to want to go Ultras or anything, and that's the normal transition out of Ling heavy styles. And we do see the Hydra range upgrade coming, so it might be a big Hydra Ling timing. Very Ling heavy, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be very Ling heavy. There's 16 more on the way here, and you really do need that Hydra range against any kind of big Void Ray composition. Otherwise, good luck even getting enough Hydras in range to actually do damage. And we've seen before, the critical mass of Void Rays does actually beat Hydras, but with a lot of Lings on the ground, it can be a little bit more difficult for the Protoss player to deal with it. In Control is sitting on a good amount of gateways already, actually. That would be now 7 by the looks of it. And he's going to go up to 3 Stargates on 3 bases here. So Void Ray production is about to explode, but the Lings are posturing here on the map. They managed to find themselves a proxy pylon.
Yeah, and Destiny is looking to... He's just going all in with this. There's no attempt at all to take a 4th base, even put down a 4th hatchery. He's just full-on unit production. I imagine as soon as all these upgrades